we started brainstorming ways to create a semester community engaged service course. And some of the things that we were trying to figure out was how do we create an immersive opportunity for students to really engage in a local community and do service. It was very clear that this was going to be a powerful collaboration, and it felt like they understood our academic project in a really meaningful way as it connected with their focus on relationship building. The long-term volunteers we related to were very humble and were very personable and just were so warm in connecting us with people. But then to do that global issues class where MDS is written up in textbooks, whole books have been written about the work that they've done in this field, for those students to step back and say like, whoa, so what we were seeing was sort of this premier response and recovery model that really centralizes the people first.
I chose to go to SST with MDS just because I know that they tend to serve the community, and that's something that also Goshen College values. MDS and Goshen College, I feel like they interlap with the values do. So for like the serving others, we definitely got to serve the immigration community back in Texas, where we were able to like build up a security fence in a sense that it was like for security for them. A lot of their values goes back to nursing, just because as nurses we have to have an open mind and not be judgmental of others, because essentially we're the ones caring for you and we just wanted you to feel better. I also got to help a sister out in teaching like classes, English classes in particular. So just like showing like the immigrants like how to count just like US dollars, and how to like say like simple phrases like hi, like how are you, good afternoon. So I felt like being able to connect personally in that way made me feel a sense of relief, just because I know when my parents came here, they would have enjoyed someone that was there lending them a hand. The lesson I feel like I would carry on is just like being able like humbly like with other cultures and like having like empathy towards others just because you don't know their struggles. And like many of those people that decide to immigrate to the United States don't do it just because they want to, but rather because they're forced to. They want to provide a better future for their families.
I signed up for the MDS program just kind of on a whim. Brianne was my ICC prof, and she was talking about it in class, and I just thought it sounded like a really good way to get out of my comfort zone and to travel a little bit, because that's one of the things that appealed to me about Goshen College. The work you do for MDS is really neat because, yes, they're long days, and it's kind of labor intensive, but it's really satisfying work, and so you feel like the service you're doing is actually meaningful and making a difference, and you're able to step back from the experience and be like, wow, we built 300 feet of fencing as a group. One of the things that I really valued most from this experience was how intentional meal times were. We'd all eat at the same time. We weren't big enough to sit around the same table, obviously, but we'd sit at different tables, and we try to mix things up every group, every meal, so that we'd get to know different people. And the MDS volunteers were often like interspersed. And so it was just really nice to be able to sit down and have that dedicated half an hour to just talk through our days and connect.
When I was talking to Suzanne East about possible SST options, I think this was the most at-home one. Obviously, all the other ones were abroad, and it was very affordable for me and for my family. And I think that just talking about being away for 3 weeks in Texas, a place that I haven't really been at, and just being able, knowing that I'd be able to help people in a way, that sounded really alluring to me. It sounded like something that I could really commit myself to and be committed to, as well as have a passion about. I got super close with a lot of people on trip. I still talk to them today. The people that were working with us were all volunteers. They were great people. I called one of them Grandma and Grandpa because they were super awesome, because they had the same names as my actual grandma and grandpa. It was hard work. It was hot. 110 degrees in Texas is hot, but the experiences that we had helping out, it was super nice to get to know those people, and just knowing that they're not just that they were from Kansas, they were from Washington. It wasn't just, they weren't getting paid for that. They were just doing it out of the goodness of their heart. And these are people that are, they're 60 or 70 years old, and they're in the hot sun. Like it pushes us a little bit harder as a group to come together and just go and push hard with them. I was blessed to get close with a lot of the members of the Hispanic community that are commuters, and that's something that I couldn't even say that I would even talk to them if I didn't go on this trip. And now I see them on campus, and I'm able to say hi to them, and they're going to be at like my basketball games and stuff like that. So it's super awesome to be able to meet those people, because I know that if I didn't take that trip, I wouldn't know those people.
One thing I really see this course doing is understanding the ways that we can promote transformative justice in our communities, and what does that look like in the face of disaster. And so the first year in 2021, May 2021, we were focused on a climate disaster, we were focused on hurricanes, and this year we were focused on a humanitarian disaster. In Goshen College's mission, it says active love for God and neighbor, and I really see that through the compassion that MDS is encouraging us to have for each other. One of our goals in this class is really to develop students' idea of servant leadership within themselves. And I think this assumption that servant leadership is an innate skill, in my opinion, is incorrect. I think it's a learned skill. I think we have to teach people how to serve others well. For me as an instructor, it's really incredible because I see the students having that, and I see them actually changing a lot in their understanding of what service means. Another piece that is really in alignment is this idea of cultural humility. And I think that is really important as we are going to, quote, serve other communities. We are not going in thinking that we are better than others, but rather that we are actually there to learn a lot from those we are serving, and that it's a privilege for us to be able to go there and to do this work. I was really struck by the overlaps of service and of love, which show up actually in both Goshen College's mission, vision, values, as well as Mennonite Disaster Services. What it really comes down to, I think, is this relationship with MDS also encourages relationship between our students and the communities in which we're serving. And that's what our study service term is all about. And I think that's why it works. That's why it transforms students' lives. And that's why people 50 years after they go on SST are still talking about that experience.